Okay, we're almost done configuring our device. We still have to configure a couple of important settings. In this video, we'll learn how to use the Configure tab for general settings. Select the Configure tab to access the basic device settings. In the Device Settings section, let's review the options available. In the Device Name field, you can rename the default device name. This is useful if you have more than one device and helps distinguish them. I'll leave the default name for now. The Power button controls whether the power button on the front of the unit is active. If enabled, you can turn the power button on or off from the device button. If disabled, power can only be controlled via the RTI system. I'm going to turn this setting off. Please note that the power button device setting, even when turned off, can reset the device to DHCP by holding down the power button for 10 seconds. It's also possible to factory reset the unit by holding down the power button for 20 seconds. Eco mode puts the amplifier into a full off state when turned off, using less power but with a slower startup time. When disabled, the amp enters standby mode, keeping the network and control interfaces active for fastest startup. However, it consumes more power while in this state. It's highly encouraged to turn Eco mode off when using a control system to avoid any unexpected power states. Audio Sense automatically powers on the amplifier when an audio signal is detected on any input. If disabled, the amp can only be turned on using the power button. If enabled, it can also be controlled by the control system. I'll turn off this setting. Standby mode automatically turns off the unit after 15 minutes of inactivity. It's highly recommended to turn off this feature. In the firmware version, you can update the unit's firmware. The current firmware version will be displayed. If the firmware version is out of date, please download the current firmware version from the RTI dealer site, storing it to a local directory. Once downloaded, select Choose File and navigate to the location of the firmware. A Submit button will appear, allowing the update to start. This process should take a few minutes. Directly below the firmware section are the Reboot and Reset settings. You can use the power on and power off buttons to turn the device on or off. Reboot will reboot the unit. This process will also take a few minutes to complete. Reset users will reset the users added in the user settings. This will not delete the main admin account. That will remain active at all times. We're going to discuss adding users shortly. Reset Network will reset the unit to its default DHCP settings. This is useful when setting a static address and then having to make a change to the IP address scheme. This can also be done by holding down the power button on the front of the unit for 10 seconds. The Factory Reset button will turn the unit to its original factory settings. This will not revert the firmware to the original version. In the Network Settings option, the device can be set to DHCP, which is the default setting, or static IP information can be assigned. If the control system relies on a fixed IP address and DHCP is selected, it is recommended to configure a MAC address reservation. Under Uses, the administrator account can be edited. The username, password, name, and email address can be revised. Some of these settings can be used to recover a forgotten password. At the bottom, permissions can be assigned for various tasks. The administrator account has access to all permissions. To set up a user account, select the plus sign on the right. Fill out the username, password, name, and email address for password recovery. Permissions may be selected below. If you are providing an end user with a web account, only grant permissions to change sources and groups. Select Apply to save your settings. Multiple users may be added for web-based control of the device. Let's wrap up by scrolling to the Device Log section. Device logs capture system events and relevant information that can help diagnose and resolve issues. If you're encountering problems, generate and share a log file with RTI technical support. To generate a log, select a duration from the drop-down menu. Once the duration is selected, interact with the device using the control system. The log will start creating some feedback. Once you have created a reasonable sample size, scroll down and select Save to save the log. Once you have saved your log, set the duration to disabled. Thanks for watching.